The heaven of the Bible is not as lonely as you were taught. There are other great powers in it. There are the sons of God, the sons of the gods, and I'll explain that. I'm the only one who talks about that, so I will explain it to you. You have the divine council. You have rulers who have rebelled. And the writers of the Bible take all of that very seriously. Further, as I will demonstrate, you cannot understand what happened at Sodom and Gomorrah unless you understand this. And I'm going to make this, you can also consider this my treatment of Sodom and Gomorrah, by the way, although obviously I'll be visiting it later. I'm Bill Krapek, fresh and honest readings of the Bible outside of the trenches in the spirit of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, and new videos every morning. Now I'm going to do some stepping for you. I'm going to step you through things because it's kind of complicated. We're looking basically at what is known as Enochian Judaism from the book of Enoch. The Unseen Realm by Michael S. Heiser. Dr. Heiser made himself famous from this. Dr. Heiser, blessed memory, he has moved on to God. The spiritual realm is full of great powers. Now later they were called angels. Angel is just a job title, just a messenger. If God sends me to tell you something, I'm an angel of God. It's not a species. The spiritual realm is full of spiritual beings of power that are called Elohim. Now, Elohim, capital E, is the name of God. This is a small e. Just gods. Included among the Elohim are the spirits of the dead, as we saw with Samuel in the book of 1 Samuel. Here's another little interesting leap. Expelling demons from the Gospel of Luke, recovering the sense of daimonion in Jewish Greek literature. The scope of this study from Shmuel Rausnitz at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem, the scope of this study is limited to the Gospel of Luke. Daimonion is not demon like a fallen angel. A daimonion is the Greek form of Elohim. They are Elohim. Most of this passage is going to be me translating. Now, I told you in a previous video that the story of Jesus with Legion, the demon Legion, is a Enochian story. I told you, look at where Jesus was, look at who lived there at the time of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and all the way centuries later into the time of Moses. We're about to cover that. Okay, so let's do some Bible reading. This translation is going to be weird. It's going to be my own translation. Feel free to dismiss it, but I'm going to explain while I do it. It's going to sound weird. Genesis 6, we're going to go through chapter 3, although I'm going to explain what happens after. This is before the great flood, and this is the cause of the great flood. When the sons of the earthling began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of the gods saw that the daughters of the earthling were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with the earthling forever, for they are mortals. Their days will be 120. Now they reproduce with the gods. They create the Nephilim, you might have heard of, the men of renown. Great warriors like Achilles in Homer. Okay. Deuteronomy 32:8. When the Most High, there's a lot to step in through for this. When the Most High gave the nations their inheritance, when he divided the sons of Adam, he set up boundaries for the people according to the number of the sons of God. Now, sons of Adam is B'nai Adam. Up in Genesis 6, we have the sons of Ha-Adam, sons of the Adam. As I've said previously, Adam is called Adam because he's the Adam. Earthling is called Earthling because he's the Earthling. Sometimes he's called the Earthling, sometimes he's called Earthling. Nobody ever translates the difference. Nobody ever accounts for that in their translation, secular or religious. And feel free to blow me off, perfectly fine with this. I don't think that's okay. In Genesis chapter 1, it doesn't say the Spirit of God hovered over the deep. It says Spirit God. There's no definite article there. And again, this is me. I don't know why you think it's okay to translate with that definite article. I'm not okay with that. I'm not comfortable with that. So sons of Adam, B'nai Elohim, the sons of Elohim. In Genesis 6, it's sons of the Elohim, B'nai Ha-Elohim. And again, there's capital Elohim and small Elohim. So because of the rules of grammar, I'm going to translate that as sons of the gods. Interesting thing about Deuteronomy 32:8. We have the Hebrew Bible we have today. We have the Septuagint, the Greek translation. We have copies of this in the Dead Sea Scrolls. In the Hebrew we have today, it says, he set up the boundaries with the people according to the number of the sons of Israel. In the Septuagint, according to the number of the angels of God. Because, again, these Elohim, they just sort of called them angels later on. 2 copies of this in Q4, in 4Q. I think that means the 4th cave at Qumran. 4Q37 and 4Q44. 4Q37, it's the sons of Elohim. 4Q44, it's the sons of El. Scholars are thinking that El is the more primitive because El doesn't just mean God. El is the name of a god, worshipped by Israel. And we have Michael, who is like El, who is like God. So what's going on here? Psalm 82. We're going to get to Sodom and Gomorrah. God presides in the great assembly. He renders judgment among the gods. How long will you defend the unjust and show partiality to the wicked? Defend the weak and the fatherless. Uphold the cause of the poor and the oppressed. Rescue the weak and the needy. Deliver them from the hands of the wicked. The gods know nothing. They understand nothing. They walk about in darkness. All the foundations of the earth are shaken. I said, you are gods. You are sons of the Most High. Just like Deuteronomy 32. But you will not die, but you will die like mere mortals. You will fall like every other ruler. Rise up, O God, judge the earth, for all the nations are your inheritance. Now, these are not humans that they're calling Elohim. For one thing, I'm about to read Psalm 89, and it removes all doubts that we're talking about spiritual beings. For another, what you see here is not only that the gods who rule are not doing their job. You don't just see it in the Bible. You see it in Iran. The gods of India are known in Iran, but in Iran, they're not the good guys. Among the Buddhists, and Buddhism came out of India, the gods are not good guys. I think there's one story where Indra, the king of the gods, is a drunkard. There's an interesting story of, I think, a monk who's talking to a bodhisattva or a Buddha or something, and hundreds of insects come marching in order into the room. And the Buddha tells him, or the bodhisattva or whatever, tells this monk, every one of these insects once upon a time was a creator god. So this demotion that you see here in in the Psalms, it's not uncommon. On the other extreme, we have Plato among the Greeks. Plato will have none of this. The gods do not disguise themselves. The gods do not lie. The gods do not cheat or steal. The gods do not show anger. The gods do exactly what they're supposed to do, and that is to make us into fit human beings. And the world is ruled, the different parts of mankind are ruled by different gods. Atlantis is ruled by Poseidon. So these are not human beings calling themselves God. Now, Jesus does treat it like that, but I think Jesus is treating it the way his fellow Judeans are treating it. And he's using their standard against them. That's how I read that. Psalm 89. The heavens praise your wonders, Lord, your faithfulness too in the assemblies of the holy ones. I think it's a Kadashim. Holy ones is just another word of the sons of God. For who in the skies above can compare to the Lord? Who is like the Lord among the sons of Elim? Okay, so we're in the sky, so these aren't humans. El is God. Eloah is God. Elohim is plural for Eloah. Elim is plural for El. So what I think is, who is like the Lord among the sons of Elim? I think Elim is a minority form of Elohim. Now, this translation, I forget what it was, New American Standard, treats it as the mighty ones. And that's what Elohim means. So I'm going to treat this as the sons of Elohim as the equivalent of sons of Elim as the equivalent of sons of Elohim. In the council of the holy ones, God is greatly feared. He is more awesome than all who surround him. Who is like you, Lord God Almighty? You, Lord, are mighty, and your faithfulness surrounds you. Now we go to Sodom and Gomorrah, but I'm not going to read that story. I'm going to read the story that came before it. We homosexuals and people who are backing us up are telling you that what happened at Sodom and Gomorrah is gang rape of angels. And the question is, did they know that they were angels? And the answer is, yes, they did. We're about to prove it. Before the story of the destruction of the city, we have Genesis 14. At the time when Amraphel was king of Shinar, that's Babylon, Arioch, king of Elasar, Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and that's in western Iran. This is interesting. And Tidal, king of Goyim, king of the Goyim, the peoples, the nations. These kings went to war against Bera, king of Sodom, Birsha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemiber, king of Zeboyim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. All these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, that is the Dead Sea Valley. For 12 years they had been subject to Chedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebel. Before I move forward, in the 14th year, Chedorlaomer and the kings allied with him went out and defeated blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get to that in just a second. Now, the Elamites were rivals to the Babylonians, and there were times where Elam conquered Babylon. For example, the famous laws of Hammurabi were not found in Babylon. They were found in an Elamite city, I think Susa, I'm not quite sure, because they had conquered Babylon and they took it back with them to their home. This is the only place that I know of that speaks of an Elamite empire stretching all the way to Jordan. This is very interesting. So anyway, they went out and defeated the Rephaites of Ashtaroth Kanaim, the Zuzites in Ham, the Emites in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in the hill country of Seir as far as El Paran near the desert. They turned back and went to El Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and they conquered the whole territory of the Amalekites, as well as the Amorites who were living in Hazazon Tamar. Why am I counting? Of the 6 people listed, 4 of them are Nephilim. We know this from chapter 2 of Deuteronomy because they show back up there. They're still there at the time of Moses. The only way this happens is they're having sex with divine beings. They're having sex with angels. These are supposed to be great spiritual beings, beings of great power. These are supposed to protect them from these kings, and they failed. And it's like the ritual, the humiliation of soldiers who have been conquered, where they're treated like women. That's what's going on here. They're angry because they lost this war, as we're about to see. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboyim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the battle of Siddim against these kings, 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits, and when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food, then they went away. Now we go to the Epistle of Jude. There's only one chapter, chapter 1, verses 5 through 6. And the angels who did not keep their positions of authority, but abandoned their proper dwelling, these he has kept in darkness, bound in everlasting chains for judgment in the great day. That is the angels from chapter 6 of Genesis. In a similar way, so what's going on there went on here. Sodom and Gomorrah and the surrounding towns gave themselves up to pornuo, which they just translate as sexual immorality. This is sexual immorality mixed with idolatry. And having gone after strange flesh, the flesh of angels. They serve as an example of those who suffer the punishment of eternal fire. That's why they're there. And now that strange flesh is often translated as unnatural, to try to slime us homosexuals. It's just like talking about the sea is where the dead go, how understanding that when the Bible talks about the sea, to try to keep that lens in mind, it makes the Bible a lot more interesting. This makes the Bible a lot more immediate, because what are we hearing? We hear about aliens. We're hearing about abductions. We're hearing about alien-human hybrids. And I'm going to tell you what my decisions are. I'm not going to tell you what your decision is. I think it's safe to say whatever's happening now was happening then. Whatever they had going on then is going on now. If they're aliens now, they were never gods. If they're gods or spiritual beings or elemental spirits, Paul talks about those, I think in Galatians, I can't quite remember, or elemental spirits, they were never aliens. Whatever's going on then is going on now. I think that's safe. And I'm going to tell you something else. Jesus is the ruler of all of this. When it comes to matters of the spirit and matters of ultimate reality, I am not interested in their opinions. I don't want to hear it. I will say, I've heard stories that when Greys tried to kidnap Christians and the name of Jesus is called on, they give you up. They don't fight you. But that's just all I'm going to say about that. There's something in the air. People everywhere at all times know about them. They talk about them. It's been going on for thousands of years. Whatever it is, it's the same thing. This is my decision. It's kind of like I was listening to a woman who talks to spirits. I said, listen, Jesus rules all of this. And she talks about how you need to look at what you've been taught. She relies on what she's been taught by other people who had other experience, and that's a good thing. These are real, whatever they are. They're older than you, and many of them are a hell of a lot smarter than you. And I don't think any of them, except for those who work directly for the God Most High, I don't think any of them have your interest. I don't think for any of them your interests align with them. Best leave them alone. I'm going to read off this note. The Bible's universe is crowded. And the moment you stop seeing it as empty, the whole story gets bigger. And I would go one step further. The whole story gets more immediate. The Bible gets a hell of a lot more interesting. Those spirits that Jesus cast out, that legion, the military spirit, that's not a thing about the Roman imperialism. That's their spirit. That's the territory where Jesus is at. It's in their old territory. It's not a coincidence that the guy that was possessed was in tombs. Tomorrow, I'm going to introduce you to the greatest novelist you've never heard of. I call him the Cantor. And he runs rings around the vast majority of people that you're going to read today. God bless you, and iron sharpens iron. See you then.